Flynn mentioned about overseas trips, and you mentioned about this is there's some kind of a scheme that involving them traveling to different countries, meeting all those business person. Could you tell us a little bit more why, like who fund those trips based on your research? Like where do they go? Do you know any of those information?
Yes, they're going all over the world. There's been trips to Uzbekistan, ones that National File I can speak to specifically, ones that National File's researched and covered. Trips to places like Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, countries that are closely linked to the Chinese Communist Party. Trips to China, trips to Ukraine, where the congressional delegation, as I'd mentioned just a minute ago, met at an orphanage for children in a war-torn country, which is run by a CCP-linked Moldovan, really sketchy guy who's got a nonprofit based in New York. National File actually tried to request some information on this nonprofit to gauge its legitimacy from the guy who runs this orphanage, and he told us that he would send it to us if we first paid him $30,000. So these are not, above-the-board people by any means, but this is who is shoveling money into our members of Congress. The Humpty Dumpty Institute, which is the specific influence operation that I'm really talking about here, and they have been financed, they've been run by Jeffrey Epstein's brother Mark, high-ranking members of Congress, U.S. intelligence, Israeli intelligence, and then, of course, the big daddy of them all, the Chinese Communist Party. They are directly linked into the Taihe Institute, which has been compared to Communist China's version of the Council on Foreign Relations. This is directly linked in with the Chinese military and with really the upper echelons of the Chinese Communist Party. And they are funding, these are the people that are funding these types of trips overseas. They're not funding all of them, but they're funding a lot of them. Some of the folks who have gone on them, Rep. Don Bacon, one of McCarthy's top henchmen, who threw such a temper tantrum when McCarthy got voted out that he was ready to elect Hakeem Jeffries Speaker. Rep. Don Bacon, this is the type of Republican that's going on these trips, and some that may even surprise people. Troy Nehls was on the trip to Ukraine, where they met with the orphanage charity, nonprofit, whatever they'd like to call it. Barry Moore of Alabama, supposedly a Freedom Caucus member, but a diehard supporter of Kevin McCarthy. He was on this trip. So this is really a vast, wide-ranging thing here, and it's ensnared virtually all of Congress.